Good evening, everyone. Welcome to At Lafayette Live here on Monday, December 16th, 2024. I hope that your week is off to a great start as we're about the halfway mark through December. Christmas will soon be upon us, followed by New Year. Then we'll be kicking off the year 2025 very, very soon. So it was unseasonably warm today. I think it got up to the mid 50s, maybe even 60 by the end of the day today. It was quite nice for Indiana in December, and I will take that. I don't know about you, but I don't need a white Christmas. No thanks. If that works for you, great, but not so much for me. So beautiful weather here today, but as you are loading in, we got the stream going here. Drop in the chat where you're from. I always love seeing where everybody is watching from. Always have some people here in the Greater Lafayette area from Lafayette and West Lafayette, but quite often we have people watching from all across the country. I think we have some Lafayette expats, probably some Purdue alumni watching, and it's always kind of surprising where you guys are watching from. So please do drop it in the chat and let me know where you're from. And throughout the evening tonight, please talk amongst yourselves in the chat. I'll try to get to any questions as that chat flows by. Sometimes it can be a little hard to keep up with. And if you're watching this later on, make sure you put some comments down below. So if you haven't joined us before, if it's your first evening watching us, hi, I'm Geoff Gooch, and you're watching At Lafayette Live, and I am a realtor with the Russell Company powered by At Properties, and I love home here in the Lafayette area. But that's not what we're here to talk about right now. We're here to talk about Lafayette and a little bit different bent on the show tonight. We always talk about what's going on here in the Greater Lafayette area, all the cool things that are going on, development, fun things to do, fun things that are upcoming, big announcements for the area. But this is probably this is our last regularly scheduled show for the year 2024. Next week the show would be 2 days before Christmas, and I just don't think I'm going to have the capacity to put out a show 2 days before Christmas, rather 2 days before Christmas, as we're wrapping up Christmas preparations. That'll be the 23rd. And then the week after that, the show would be on the 30th, which is the day before Christmas, day before New Year's Eve, rather. So we probably have some short notice, unannounced specials, one or two sometime in that time period, but it won't be our regular Monday 7 o'clock time slot. So keep an eye out on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel for the announcements about live streams going on over here during the holidays. And to keep yourself entertained, check out all the videos on the channel. Hit the like and subscribe button and make sure you don't miss a single one, because while we won't be live streaming on Mondays, we'll still be posting videos, creating new content to keep you guys entertained about cool things here in Lafayette. And I believe I'm approaching 200 videos and I think about an equal number of shorts, and then the live streams are just going and going and going. So before you know it, we're going to be past 500 videos that you can go watch here at Geoff Gooch Realty and at Lafayette Live. So go check that out, and I hope you're enjoying your holiday season. So we'll be staying home this holiday season for the most part. So family, anybody that's watching, you know where to find us. Come here. I won't be in my office. I mean, unless all of you show up, in which case I might be in my office. I'm kidding. Mostly. What about you guys? What's your plans for Christmas? Are you traveling? Going on vacation? Maybe down to Florida? Maybe head down to Disney World or the beach? Going on a cruise? Drop in the chat what you're doing for Christmas and New Year's as the breaks are coming up. So with a different look at the show this year, instead of looking forward, we're actually going to look backward. And we're going to look back on some of the biggest stories of 2024 here in the Greater Lafayette area. And some of them are big stories because they were big stories, and some of them I thought were just like cool stories about the Lafayette area, cool things that happened here, something that like just caught my interest that I think are worth following up on again. So while it's still a little ways away for a retrospective from the end of the year, this is our last regularly scheduled broadcast. So we're going to start with a look back at the highlights of the year 2024 in the Greater Lafayette area. And number one that I want to talk about is the restoration of commercial flights to the Purdue University Airport. Now, this is a small turboprop plane. I think it's a turboprop. Maybe it's just a prop, but those of you aviation engineers can clear that up for me. But it flies from the Purdue University Airport to Chicago O'Hare. And it seems to be doing really well. And I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day, and it really kind of struck me that this really actually makes a whole lot of sense. If you're gonna drive to O'Hare to make a connection to fly somewhere else, whether that somewhere else is here in the United States or you're gonna go international, it really is a fiscally reasonable thing to do. It's a responsible thing to do. I pulled up some random dates in January. January 14th, departing Purdue University Airport, West Lafayette, and landing in Chicago O'Hare. And they have several flights. 1, 2, 3, 4 flights that day. You can leave early in the morning at 6:05 a.m. So if you're an early bird, you can enjoy that. I won't be with you. But you can also fly at about 11 a.m. at 10:55, at 3:25 p.m., so middle of the afternoon. And then there's a middle of the evening departure at 6:55 p.m. And the flights take about an hour and 20 minutes. And with the time change, they only take 20 minutes. Not really. But the flight that takes off at 6:05 a.m. lands at 6:25 a.m. local time in Chicago. And then, of course, from Chicago O'Hare, that's a major hub for United Airlines, for Delta Airlines. Heck, even Southwest flies out of O'Hare now. You can get anywhere from O'Hare. And what does this flight cost? This little puddle jumper, if you will? You would think it'd be expensive. It's $99. $99. That's less than $100 one way. Now, that's less than taking an Uber to Chicago. Now, I'm not suggesting that taking an Uber to Chicago would be a good idea by any means, but you could do it. But if you even to drive your own car, you would have to pay for parking at the other end. And you have to pay to park your car. You're going to have to pay for gas back and forth to get there. So it just kind of makes sense. I was looking to see if I could quickly pull up what Lafayette Limo is charging these days. Here we go. $55 for one person. So it is indeed cheaper to go via bus by $45, but it's a 3-hour trip, and you got to stand outside on the sidewalk waiting for the bus to come, and then it's a 3-hour trip. This is a 1 hour and 20-minute flight, direct connection to O'Hare. And if you're traveling with family, I think it starts to make a whole lot more sense, especially with kids. So they offer 3 tiers. They call them Frugal, Friendly, and Freedom. They're all no refunds, but they change. You start with no discounts, then you can get a credit, and then you can make a change in the top tier. The baggage fees change a little bit. On the base level, you get a personal item and a second personal item up to 15 pounds or a checked bag up to 50 pounds. And then you start paying for checked bags at $30 after that. You can bring your surfboard for $35. Same on the friendly, on the middle tier. The baggage changes a little bit, and then you get a little more baggage on the top tier. So $100 each way, direct connection to Chicago O'Hare. And if I understand correctly, you stay behind security the entire time, so you don't have to go through security again. I've got to imagine that if you've got to go terminal to terminal at O'Hare, that you probably have to leave the security cordon and may have to go back through security in that case. So I'm not exactly sure how the details work on that. I haven't taken these flights, maybe at some point in the spring I need to try this out for myself, see if I got an extra $200 laying around to make the round trip flight sometime. But that was a really, really big thing, and I think probably the harbinger of things to come as more and more development comes here to the Greater Lafayette area, and some of which we're going to talk about as we continue on. So that was topic number one that I thought was of interest from 2024 here in the Greater Lafayette area, the restoration of commercial air service at the Purdue University Airport. Hit the like and subscribe button. Tell YouTube how much you enjoyed joining us here on Lafayette Live every Monday at 7 o'clock, and that you like learning about Lafayette and all the cool things to do here in our community. All right, the second one that I bookmarked that I thought was an interesting story from 2024 is Columbian Park Playground got a massive renovation. Our family has always loved Columbian Park. It's a really cool place. There's the zoo, there's the water park, and both of those are extra fees, but they're pretty inexpensive. But then there's also just the open to the public playgrounds, and they've always had 3 or 4 different playgrounds aimed at different ages. But the big kids playground, if you will, up at the top of the hill, got a massive renovation this year. Really, really cool new equipment, and they have slides that actually go down the hill and tunnels, and then they, like astroturfed the side of the hill. It's a really, really cool park. My kids really enjoy it, and I just thought that was an awesome thing that came to Columbian Park this year. So if you haven't checked it out yet, you should go while the weather's still nice, while it's still 54 degrees outside. So that was topic number 2 that I thought was cool here from 2024 in the Greater Lafayette area. The next story for 2024 that I wanted to talk about was the Area Plan Commission has approved restrictions for local Airbnb rentals. So the towns of Lafayette and West Lafayette have been talking about restricting Airbnb rentals, short-term rentals. This is not long-term regular leases like you would normally have when you go and rent an apartment for an entire year or multiple years. This is short-term vacation rentals, a day or 2 or 3, Airbnb, Verbo, those sorts of things. The restrictions apply to areas that are zoned R1, R1U, R1A, and R1B, and that's in Lafayette and West Lafayette and Dayton, Battleground, Clarks Hill. I think all the cities have jumped in on this and decided this is what they want to do. There are other zones where Airbnbs are allowed. Some of the more commercial areas of downtown still allow it, but they wanted to restrict the short-term rentals in residential neighborhoods. Now, you can go before your city council and before the Area Planning Commission or the Board of Zoning Appeals and appeal for a waiver to this. And I actually I was reading the board minute notes a couple of days ago, and somebody actually had one waived. So it is possible to do, but they're trying to protect home values. They're also trying to protect the character of neighborhoods, that these are residential neighborhoods, that these aren't short-term people coming and going constantly. And, in my opinion, I think that's overall a good thing. There's a certain way to look at it with, a property owner's rights, homeowner's rights, that, you own it and you should be able to do whatever you want with it. But there is also the being the good neighbor way to look at it. Are you living next door to a short-term rental where you don't have neighbors, where you have people coming and, changing every 2 and 3 days, every couple of weeks sort of thing? So I think overall it's well-intentioned. It's certainly restricted it. And quite frankly, I've read a lot of stuff online about some of these super Airbnb hosts that got into it as a business, that the business doesn't necessarily work for them. Like the original intention for Airbnb was literally that, like an air mattress and, in a spare room sort of thing. And I'm not saying that it can't work with rentals that are specifically purchased for that purpose, but it is it is a unique business. And so if you're in the Greater Lafayette area and you're thinking about investing in real estate, first off, I'd love to talk to you. Second off, though, how you're going to use that home, if you're thinking about a short-term rental, there are some additional zoning restrictions that we have to think about now. So next up on 2024 year in review, cool things that happened here in the Greater Lafayette area. Purdue University and the Lafayette area produced a Jeopardy champion. Adriana Harmeyer won 15 games in a row. And I tell you, if you're a Jeopardy fan, if you're a game show fan in general, this was a really cool run to watch. To see somebody win 15 Jeopardy games in a row, her total winnings came to $351,600. Not bad work, but kudos to Adriana, and she's going to be invited back for the Tournament of Champions that I believe shoots sometime in the winter or spring, so she will be back on Jeopardy. So that was a really cool, exciting 3-4 week period here in the Lafayette area. So congratulations to Adriana. You brought some real joy to people here in Lafayette. What did you guys think of Jeopardy? Did everybody watch every single game with bated breath? She certainly lost with equanimity. Was a not a sore loser by any means. When the end came, she knew it and moved on. But really was exciting to watch. Really, really was. Near and dear to my heart and to our family's heart, we do a lot with the arts, supporting the arts and our boys in the arts. I mean, the illustration of that is my youngest son just sits down at the piano. Like, he'll choose the piano over his iPad these days. Loves it. But the Lafayette Symphony Orchestra conducted a 2-year search for a new conductor. And they announced this conductor back in June, and his name is Kellen Gray. He's the symphony's 6th conductor, its first African-American conductor, and he is just a really, really cool guy. His music programming choices for the LSO so far have just been spot on. We were lucky enough to actually attend his concert where he auditioned, and we've enjoyed every bit of music. It's really, really early in the symphony season. I mean, it's only December now. They've only had a handful of concerts so far, and there's a lot more to come in the winter and spring. Really, really excited to see what else Kellen brings. He does a great job of programming both recognizable classical music that everybody's going to know, and then also working in more modern music, some from the diaspora, that is reflective of people's experiences in the 20th century and in the 21st century. So it's a really cool program that he's putting together there, and he's a really fun, engaged conductor to watch. So go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Tell YouTube how much you enjoy watching us every week here on At Lafayette Live. Guys, keeping up with me so far? There was a lot going on here, and like I said, I picked the highlights for me. There's a lot more going on in the area. We're about halfway through the stories that I thought were interesting. This is by no means an exhaustive list of cool things going on in the area. These were just, like I said, some highlights for me. But back on July 18th, NDOT finally wrapped up, after more than 2 years, the I-65 widening project here in the Greater Lafayette area. This was a $99 million project that was opening an extra lane both directions between exits 175 and a little north of 178. It was supposed to be done by May, and it didn't finish till middle of July. And this construction project was the last on the heels of several construction projects that opened up Lafayette, the Lafayette section of I-65 from south of Lafayette, just south of exit 168, all the way to the north, 10 miles north of 178 to 3 lanes in either direction, 6 lanes total. And that road construction has been ongoing forever. So that was exciting news. Now, I am sure that we will see more construction in the not too distant future. The length of highway that is only 2 lanes in each direction between just north of Lafayette and just south of Northwest Indiana is relatively small these days. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of somewhere between 40 and 50 miles. It is a lot, but in 10-mile chunks that gets eaten up pretty quickly. And likewise, going south, it is not even 50 miles. It's only probably in the neighborhood of 25-ish miles where the three lane in either direction ends south of Lafayette and where it picks back up north of Lebanon now. So I think that we'll probably see construction projects. I didn't look recently to see where the bidding process is on projects for I-65, but I would not be surprised that NDOT has not already awarded construction projects, and we'll be following along with that. But I tell you what, in July, it was nice to have all the construction picked up for at least a little while here in the Lafayette area. I enjoy having newer, better roads, but it's also nice enjoying the not construction for a few minutes. Do you guys agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comments, in the chat. Next up, 2024 highlights. This was a big one to miss. This was a hard one to miss. SK Hynix receives nearly $1 billion in federal funding. This is a major semiconductor chip manufacturer, SK Hynix, and they're going to build a $4 billion manufacturing packaging facility in West Lafayette, and this is part of the CHIPS Act. This seems like it's going to happen. There have been a number of things announced here in the here in the Indiana area, CHIPS Act related, that were announced and then got canceled. This one seems to have some legs, seems to be running, but they haven't broken ground as of December 16th. I think they're getting closer to it. Indiana, I believe, has all of their funding lined up in support of this program, but this is huge. This is, competing with things like NVIDIA. This is things like AI, things like crypto mining, that sort of thing. The thirst, the worldwide thirst for processing power for chips is just absolutely insatiable. And to be bringing this manufacturing facility here to the Greater Lafayette area in West Lafayette was just no small thing. I mean, everybody and anybody in the political world of Indiana was at Purdue University for the announcement. And I mean, the governor was there, all the provosts and presidents of Purdue University were there. It's a very, very big deal. I mean, it is. We talk a lot here on Lafayette Live about the strong manufacturing base of the Greater Lafayette area, and that there is these traditional mainline manufacturers, but they were also into high tech. And this is as high tech gets in so many ways. I mean, we have jet engine manufacturers here, but now we're going to have a microchip manufacturer here, and I think that's a pretty cool thing. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't miss a minute of what comes out here at Geoff Gooch Realty and at Lafayette Live. Hit it right now. Come on, I know you want to do it. Next up, this is more development news. A lot of development-related stuff going on here in the Greater Lafayette area in the last year in 2024, and more to come. More to come for sure. The Chauncey Hill Mall, up at the top of State Street as you head up into the Purdue University campus area, has kind of been a sad-looking strip mall for, it's been a strip mall for many, many years. It's been sad-looking for several years. But the developer there finally put plans together, got it rezoned, got West Lafayette, got the Area Planning Commission to sign off on it, and all the businesses are gone, and they are redeveloping that into a 13-story apartment complex. This is no small thing. You can see the row of high-rises, now marching up the hill towards Purdue University. I remember when the first one was announced, and it was a big deal, and then the next one. But then there was a moratorium put in because there was a little concern about saturation of development. But then some other things came along that suddenly cleared the way for more to happen, and this is a big one. This is another 13-story building. As of December 16th, I haven't driven by there in a little while. I know that it was vacant. I am not sure if they have demoed all of the building or not yet, but if they haven't, it is coming very, very soon. It's kind of going to be an L shape. If you're familiar with it, it's a giant parking lot, and then on the back two sides of the parking lot are basically where the strip mall exists. And where that strip mall exists is going to be the L-shaped building with a large green area in front. We'll talk about that green area in a second. But the two L shapes are basically going to be two high rises, and one side is going to be a more student focused apartment rental area. But we're told that the other half is going to be multifamily residential. That's right, family, not students. So I'm thinking, young professors with young families, um, international students, postdocs, postgrads that are here to start their research careers. I'm thinking that this might be the housing that's going to interest them. Those that want a little more of the urban experience, I mean, it's West Lafayette. It's not going to be urban in comparison to Chicago or New York, but that wants a little more of that urban experience, could live here. There's going to be retail down in the bottom, 40,000 square feet of commercial space. There will also be 544 parking spaces in a 3-story underground parking garage. And then what is currently the parking lot out front is going to be a large green space park area for public recreation and fun, a place to hang out when it's nice outside. So it's going to look a lot better than the concrete jungle than it currently is. So it will be interesting to watch that building start to go up here in the new year. Our next story that I thought was cool in the Greater Lafayette area in 2024 was also development related. The Levy District down at the bottom of Chauncey Hill at the intersection of State Street and River Road. This is the area that has Nine Irish Brothers, that has the movie theater, Tippecanoe Park, the ice rink. There's a bunch of odd-shaped streets down there from just the history of this development. Well, the city has for years been working on a plan to turn this into a new district and to get a master plan done that would make an actual grid of roads. But of course, to get a grid of roads that on property that already exists, you're going to have to tear some buildings down. So the first buildings are down. The new old Bruno's Pizza is gone. The motel that was there on the corner is gone. And Building A will soon be starting. They're doing grading and utility work soon to follow on those sites. But there is going to be brand new residential, brand new retail, brand new, I believe 2 new hotels are going up there. And that work is happening. So both existing structures are coming down, and then existing roads are going to be torn up, and then they're going to reconfigure the roads into a grid system, and there's going to be a ton of new development down there. Again, housing, hotels. There's even going to be a splash pad down at Tippecanoe Park. They're going to do some work on the ice rink area. They're going to put a pavilion up over it eventually. It's going to be really, really cool when they finish everything. It's going to take a lot of years to get this development done. This is just the beginning stages of it. But that has been kind of in the works from a planning commission standpoint for a number of years now. And it's happening. I mean, buildings were torn down. I have driven by this, and I've seen the work underway there. So keep your eyes out for more to come there. Next up, I'm going to bring up my notes. I need notes on this one. Niche.com announced that the West Lafayette School Corporation made their list of the best school districts in America. They ranked number 1 in the state of Indiana. Keep in mind, they're competing against places like Carmel and Noblesville. That's pretty great. The amount that Carmel spends per student, I know, is pretty high. Number 14 in the United States, they ranked at number 2 best places to teach in Indiana, and number 2 of districts with the best teachers in Indiana. Amazing how that works. You pay teachers well, you support them, you take care of your students, and life is a great circle. You get great teachers, and it all begins again. So congratulations to the West Lafayette School Corporation. I've always known that they were great, but this is just more proof of what a great job that they do. And I know when I'm out there selling houses, no joke, some people would sell their firstborn to get in the West Lafayette School Corporation. They have that great of a reputation. That was a really, really cool story in 2024 here in West Lafayette. As we get down towards the end of the year, and these stories haven't exactly been in date order, but in the last couple of months, a 2024 story here in the Lafayette area has been all about Purdue University. And over 2,200 Purdue University students were seeking housing after a residence lottery. Purdue accepted more students than they planned on for the next school year, for 2025-2026. And as they were putting their housing plans together for 25-26, they were not going to have enough beds for on-campus housing. So they wound up having to run a lottery. They pulled out the beds they needed for the newly admitted freshman class that they had guaranteed beds to. And then everybody was assigned a lottery number, and they drew that lottery. And if you got a number, you got to pick a dorm, a residence for next year. But if you didn't get picked in the lottery, you were just out of luck and you had to go find your own housing. And we're still, as a community, as a Purdue University community, as a West Lafayette community, as a Greater Lafayette community, we're still working through the effects of that. We're not at the beginning, but we're not at the end. We're solidly in the middle of this story. And this story won't end until August of 2025 at the earliest for many, many students. And even then, the story won't be done, because housing and Purdue University are just two words that don't go together very well right now. So there's a lot more to come on that. Purdue is trying to build as quickly as they can new housing, new residences, new dorms, but they can only build so fast, and their capacity, or the draw to Purdue University seems to continue to rise and rise and rise. So this is where I jump in and say you should consider buying a house instead of renting. It used to be, ha ha ha, yeah, that's funny, Jeff. The amount that it costs to rent in the Greater Lafayette area and West Lafayette now equal or exceed the price of mortgages. And that's no joke. That's not an exaggeration. That is the truth. These high-rise buildings that we were just talking about, as they're building more and more of them, studio apartments, singles, studios, start at $1,800 per month for a studio. Think about that. We can get you into a mortgage for cheaper than that. We can get you into a mortgage for the same amount as that. If you want to be really, really close to campus, we can get you into a mortgage for probably a little more than that, but the end of 4 years of undergrad, 2 years of a master's, 5 to 6 years of a PhD, you will have all of that equity invested in yourself, in your family, in your kids. And there are actually ways that you can use your 529 plans to do this. When rents equal or exceed the cost of buying a house, you're actually allowed to use your 529 plans. So if that's something that interests you, we should talk about that. Send me a message, leave a comment down below, go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube and send me a message there about how I can help you out with home here in West Lafayette and Purdue University. Well, that went off on a little bit of a tangent as we're highlighting stories that I thought were interesting here in the Lafayette area over the last year. One more to go. This one will finish on a high note. Prophetstown State Park is to receive $25 million for future upgrades. $25 million for our relatively small, in the big picture of state parks here in Indiana, state park. That money is going to go a long way. They're going to put $15 million towards adding 120 new full-service campsites. That's going to double the size of the existing campground. $8 million to create a new Prophetstown Heritage Area. It's going to include a visitors area, outdoor exhibits, and a recreative Native American village. They're going to spend $1 million on new trails. I'm guessing that $1 million buys you a lot of trail. And $1 million to restore and enhance the aquatic center, their water park down there. I'm really excited about that. I love the Prophetstown Water Park. Our family loves Prophetstown. So $25 million going to our local state park. And that is my last story from 2024. There was a lot more that happened in 2024, of course. These were the highlights. These were stories that I thought are important to the Lafayette area, to things to come in 25 and 26 and onwards. Some real great feel-good stories, a new park for kids to play at, sort of thing. But by no means a complete history of everything going on here in the Lafayette area. Now, next, I thought we would review 2024 in another way. We're going to look at the 5 homes in the Greater Lafayette area that sold in 2024 for more than $1 million. That's right, more than $1 million. The median sales price here in the Greater Lafayette area is a lot less than $1 million. Give me just a second and I'm going to tell you what that number is. There it is, Tippecanoe County. The median sales price this year is somewhere in the high 280s, just under $300,000 is the median price for all of Tippecanoe County. So $1 million is definitely more than the median, but I thought it'd be fun to look at these $1 million homes. Now, as we do this, do keep in mind that these homes were sold, so they're of course no longer available. But I thought it would be fun to look at them. First up, change my screen. As we look at the 5 homes in the Greater Lafayette area that sold for more than $1 million in 2024. First up, 631 Wexford Drive. This beautiful looking white brick home is out on the east side of Lafayette, just north of the South Fork of the Wildcat River. And as we zoom out here, we'll see here's 65 right over here. I mean, super convenient to the interstate. But let's take a quick tour through it. We may not hit every picture on these because, again, these are homes that have sold already, but does come with the auxiliary building there. Look at that brilliant stone fireplace, the giant island in the kitchen. We'll get a closer up view of that here in a second. I love the light fixture up here, up at the top, and that's cut off a little bit on the stream. You can't quite see that as much. Moving on. Yeah, here's the island. Look at this. They have it set up for seating for 6 at an island. That's humongous. And then there's the dining area over here in the sunroom. This is just a really, really cool home. Got the microwave built into the island. Got the tray ceilings. Love the study office with the built-ins and the coffered ceilings. that's a pretty massive tray ceiling in that bedroom. It's an ensuite with the sliding barn door going into the bathroom. Got the bath and the shower in the same enclosure. One of the secondary bedrooms there. Downstairs living room with a fireplace. And then here we move to outside, and we have the garage. The garage. Calling this as a garage. This is the secondary auxiliary dwelling unit, the ADU, if you will. Full kitchen and dining in there. They've got the garage area set up as a home gym, batting cage, basketball court. I mean, come on. Weight room. So if you want to work on cars, you can, but if you want to work on yourself, it's already set up for that. So this house is absolutely beautiful. Wildcat Creek right back here. So what do you think of that? 631 Wexford sold at $1,350,000. 6 bedrooms, 6 bath, 6,111 square feet, 1.72 acres. Next up in homes in the Greater Lafayette area that sold for more than $1 million in 2024, 1344 Parview Lane sold for $1,320,000. 6 bedrooms, 5 baths, 6,540 square feet. Bring up the pictures here. So this is 1344 Parview Lane. Let's take a look at the map, and we can see where it's at, just south of 26 here. As we continue to zoom out, we'll see here's Klondike. Purdue University is over here to the east. Easy on 26 to the new 52 bypass. You can hit up Purdue University. You can go north on Klondike up to shopping in West Lafayette. Another white brick. It's all the rage right now. I love the windows looking out onto the backyard with the vaulted ceilings, like the wood beam kind of ties the whole room together. Not quite the same thing as a rug, but you know. Wood floors. This is, I believe, a den, office. Not quite as big an island as the first one that we looked at, but look at the what I believe is the 8-burner gas stove in this place. Professional level kitchen, absolutely beautiful. Look at the pantry. The pantry has its own fridge. This is the laundry room. We move into a living room den area. The primary bath. What do you think of this one? I do like the walkways that overlook the first floor from the second floor. I'm not sure how practical they actually are, but I think they're cool looking. When we start getting into the bedrooms, I'm just going to zip through these. We're going to find the more interesting looking features. I like the back deck on this one. So that is 1344 Parview Lane. Again, 6 bedrooms, 5 baths. 6,440 square feet. Are you buying it? You're going to buy one? You're going to buy 2 of them? Next up in our homes that sold in 2024 in the Greater Lafayette area for more than $1 million is 6131 Songbird Trail in Lafayette. It is a 5-bedroom, 6-bath, 8,097 square feet. It's on 3.21 acres. Let's take a look at the map here and get a lay of the land for where it is. This is just a little down the street from our first home that we looked at. Here's Wildcat Creek. I'm going to keep zooming out. Put it in perspective here. Here's 26. Here's 25, so it's kind of halfway between. You can get to it from either side. Slightly easier getting to it from 25. Get up on 25 and take 300 east or 300 north over here. So that tells you where it's at. Let's tell you a little bit about it. This one has the big stone brick drive going up to it. Kind of has all the turret looking built in, but the inside of the home is not belied by the outside of the home. It's much more modern looking on the inside than the outside. They've definitely done some work here since the home was originally built. It was only built in 2010, so you don't quite have matching styles on the inside versus the outside, and that's okay. I do like the window walls. I would like somebody else to clean them for me. The giant vaulted ceilings in the living room. The dining room. And I do like this particular dining room setup. That, of course, doesn't come with the house, but I like the setup. Powder room. Got the 4-poster bed in one of the bedrooms. Again, we're talking about things that don't come with the house. This is the primary suite. Look at the sitting room. Here's the bed over here. Here's the sitting room here. Humongous. Trying to see if there was a square footage on just that room. That garden tub just sitting out there in front of the fireplace in the bathroom. Luxurious. I think I kind of like this kitchen. There's just something about it that I like. It's kind of got a little bit of the French Nouveau style to it. It's got the big Wolf gas stove, the farm sink. I think the only thing that this one is kind of missing for me is they should have done the cabinet finishes on the big fridge, but that's okay. The eat-in area with the small den. See this quite a lot, and not in just this price point of homes. Again, this is closed at $1.2 million. I've seen it in cheaper homes where you actually have a kitchen with a little bit of an eat-in area and a den attached to that. So like you can almost have like a home within a home. Get into the secondary bedrooms. This one is absolutely gigantic. I mean, this is a bedroom. Huge. I'm just popping through these pictures pretty quickly. Another secondary bedroom. If you're looking for big bedrooms, this is what $1.2 million buys you. 8,097 square feet. Downstairs game room. 3-car garage. I love the multi-level deck. Do like that. So that is $6131 Songbird. And I might have been telling you I think I was telling you the wrong. Okay, that one closed at $1.1 million. And it was 4 bedrooms, 6 baths, 8,042 square feet. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong listing as we were going through that one. So next up, on our list of homes that sold in the Greater Lafayette area in 2024 for more than $1 million is 8947 Grant Street in Battleground. This is a 3-bedroom, 4-bath, 5,504 square feet, sitting on 10 acres, and it closed for $1,025,000. Again, this one is in Battleground, so as we check out the map here, we're going to be a little north of the Lafayette area. For those of you that know, here's Pretty Prairie right here, so you can cut over on Pretty Prairie to go pick up River Road, down to 9th Street, rather. It turns into 9th Street. So yeah, we're just a little north of town. I mean, from here to here is probably about a 8-minute drive, and then from here to here is another 10-ish minute drive. So you're still less than 20 minutes away from Purdue University and West Lafayette. But let's take a look. And again, this is one of those twilight shots where they really push the windows. Not a huge fan of that, but I do understand why they do it. Let's move on in. Here's the more realistic looking photo. Yeah. Like the Circle Drive out front. This one does have a pool. Nice covered porch with a rocking chair and swings. A little more traditional looking on the inside. This one was built in... I don't have that in front of me. That's not called out here. Okay. Like the living room. Again, it's got that second floor esplanade that kind of looks down onto the first floor. I think it's kind of cool looking. Large dining room, very traditional dining room in this one. And again, here's the kitchen with the eat-in area and the attached den. I'm sure that there's a big formal word for that. I don't know what it is. If you know what it is, let me know in the chat. The enclosed porch out back, and the nice in-ground pool. Not a feature you see too often here in Indiana, especially in the Greater Lafayette area. The pool season's pretty short here. End of May, beginning of June till September-ish, if you're lucky. You might be able to stretch it a little either way if you really like cold weather. Primary suite, big garden tub, glass block shower. And then we get into the secondary bedrooms and bathrooms. We'll just pop through these pretty quickly. Yep. And then we get up onto this esplanade up on the second floor. Then we head back down into the basement. We see the game room and more game room / office. Here's the laundry / sewing room as they have it set up. You can use it however you want, of course. But now this is pretty cool. You've got this awning outside. What do they call it? Picnic shelter. Picnic shelter outside on your own property. And then, of course, you do have a pole barn that you can use as a shop. And on top of that, a doll house, playhouse, and a caboose. This has all the places for the kids and the dads and the moms to play. Again, this one was 8947 Grant Road in Battleground. It sold in October for $1,025,000. And that is going to conclude our tour of 5 homes here in the Greater Lafayette area that sold for more than $1 million in 2024. Again, the median price slightly less than $300,000. So more than $1 million. Don't worry. If you're interested in home here in the Lafayette area, that's not what you have to pay. I just thought it would be cool to go through some of the more unique sales here in the area. I actually think I skipped one as I'm going through this. Yeah, we did skip one. Let's go back in. Let me get reset here. We're going to look at one more. Our last home that sold for more than $1 million in the Greater Lafayette area in the year of 2024 is this one. This is 200 Discovery Point Drive in Lafayette. It sold in July for $1,200,000, 5 bedrooms, 6 baths, 8,097 square feet on 3.21 acres. And this one is just south of the South Fork. So it's just on the other side of Wexford. We were looking over here earlier. This one is over here. So you're almost neighbors. And we'll just zoom out here, and here we go. Lafayette is just over this way to the east. I'll keep zooming out so you can see it. Here's I-65. Get me out of the way there. So quick little jaunt over there. I mean, this is a 10-minute drive, tops. Probably not even that long. But let's have a tour. So this one, again, brick on the outside. Entryway. This is the office/den. I love the built-ins. I like the big world map there. It's an interesting piece. Slightly modern take on a traditional dining room. Again, all of these million-dollar homes have all of the windows that you're going to need to hire a window cleaner for. And the second floor esplanade that looks down onto the main floor. Kitchen is functional, but really for this size and price of house, not the most outstanding kitchen we've seen. But I think that's more got to do with the fact that this strikes me as like a practical kitchen for the space, as opposed to just being like a showy, gaudy kind of thing. Again, with the eat-in and the dining area. When you have a house within a house, I start to wonder about like why make the house smaller. Primary suite, look at that giant walk-in closet there with a wet bar, so you don't have to go far for drinks. You don't have to leave the bedroom. Lots of square footage in the bathroom, but a lot of just big open space. Back to the kitchen. Oh no, I'm sorry, this is the game room with full wet bar. I mean, full kitchen, really. I mean, there's an oven. I think it's got everything but a stove. Definitely the fridge, dishwasher, wine fridge. So they save some money in the main kitchen by having another kitchen. Downstairs, living room / game room. So you don't have to go upstairs for your snacks. You can just make them downstairs. Throw your pizza rolls in the oven. Got a downstairs bedroom for those teenagers you want to get away from. They've got a room set up as a home gym. This I like. If you like wine, here's some storage for you. Get into some secondary bedrooms and bathrooms. Again, that's a lot of wasted square footage there in the middle of the room. I'm sorry, it is. I'm all for luxury. I'm all for room. But let's make it practical and use the room. There are 5 bedrooms in this home. This is a big bonus room. I like the covered porch, but this is, I believe, a 3-season porch. These are screens, not windows. That's an interesting choice. Large deck out back. What do you think of this one? Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Again, this one sold in July for $1.2 million. 200 Discovery Point Drive. It's 5 bedrooms, 6 baths, 8,096 square feet. And that wraps up our tour of 5 homes that sold in the Greater Lafayette area in 2024 for more than $1 million. If you're interested in home here in the Greater Lafayette area, I and the entire Russell team powered by At Properties would love to help you. Please go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube and send us a message on how we can help you find home here in the Greater Lafayette area. And hit the like and subscribe button. Tell YouTube how much you enjoy us, and don't miss a minute of all of the content that we produce here at Jeff Gooch Realty and at Lafayette Live. I really, really, really hope you guys enjoy your holiday season. Hope you have a happy Christmas, a Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, all of the celebrations. I hope you have a happy New Year. We will probably be back with at least one live show sometime between now and New Year's. It won't be on a Monday, so please join us if you can. Make sure you stay up with all of the content, but also make sure that you stay up with friends and family. Enjoy some time off, and we will see you again next time when we return to our regular time slot Mondays at 7 o'clock here on At Lafayette Live. Have a great holiday, everybody.